Here we go. Sunday morning, sitting here with Pete Gruber Senior.
Nice to have you again, Rolf.
And we come up the last time with something what bothers me for a long time. And that is actually the cooling fans for the PEM. And we said today, and first of all, happy birthday, Elon. We will fix it for you. And how we fix it for you comes after this intro. Okay.
I pressed and say, I went and say.
Let's have a little talk first. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things I want to add to this project is that in the Tesla Roadster community, it's a unique community in that it is filled with inventors and innovators and people that are totally committed to keeping these cars running. And what Rolf has done this morning is brought some of his ideas regarding a PEM cooling system that eliminates the drawing of air from underneath the car where most of the dirt and dust is and leaves, and then dumping it into the most important part in the Roadster, which is the power electronics module. He has found a way to filter the intake of those fans, and that's what we're going to discuss this morning.
Yeah. And we're going to the cars itself, but basically this is one fan. This is a 12-volt fan, which has here a connector, and the fan is inside the housing there, and it runs pretty powerful, right? There's a lot of amperage going through that fan.
We figured about 15, 16 amps of current draw,
yeah,
with around 350 cubic feet per minute airflow.
So what happens there with the fan is that the unfiltered air goes through that fan, blows through the car, and blows into the PEM or into the cooling ribs of the PEM.
Into the IGBT heat sinks,
yeah,
which are designed to cool the high power transistors that are in the inverter section that actually convert the DC to AC. And the problem has been that with all of this dust, dirt, and debris being blown across those heat sinks, at a minimum every year you have to take the PEM out, blow out all the dirt, dust, and leaves, and if you don't do that, then the PEM begins to overheat, which not only reduces the power available in the car, throws lots of alert messages, but also stresses the components in the power electronic modules because they don't like running hot.
And especially at the hot time in the year, I see that message when I'm driving 20 minutes or so, then I get the message, power reduced.
We are in Phoenix, Arizona, by the way.
Yes.
So that's this is a good test bed for the heating problems in the Tesla Roadster.
And so what we came up with was the following. I looked about what is the diameter of this area here and what can I place on it. So there were some standard on the market, what you can buy fans, and actually we will make that project available for people who want to upgrade here as well. So what I were looking for is there's a piece of filter here, which is on one side there's an intake there. It's about 2-inch intake and another small intake there. And then on the other side is basically this top lid on that. So it sucks in the air from both sides, and when the filters are in between, and we try to make those filters reusable so that you do not throw them away. So it sucks those air in, and then all of the dust would come into your car, into your cooling system, but not anymore, because it sealed this off here. It is connected to one of these ones with some bolts, and when you can stick it, and then here you can put a wing nut on that as well, and then easy exchange the filters for that on both sides. For this side here is what we have there. We have these types of tubings. So that a tubing, it just comes directly here on top of that. It's a little bit more than 2-inch. This is a tubing which is a high heat resistance tubing. There's a spring in there and a high heat resistance polyester or material.
Yeah, plenty.
Right. Yeah. And this tubing, what we want to do is, comes from the, I call them intakes. What do you call them?
Yeah, on the Tesla Roadster there are non-functional side scoops
Yes.
in the quarter panels. And years ago, Martin Eberhard was telling me that the original Roadster design included making those functional to draw air from the top of the car, just like a Ferrari 308.
Yeah.
For either, on a Ferrari, it would be the air intake and the oil cooler,
Yeah.
to make them completely functional. Because the cars needed to get out fairly quickly, there were some design compromises that were made. So they ended up placing a 12-volt DC brush motor up underneath the car to draw the cooling or the air for cooling the PEM.
And sometimes they do two brush motors, and sometimes they do one.
Right. There's a later enhancement to this, which is a dual motor system.
Yeah, it's a dual motor. I do have the dual motor system. Basically, I need two of them, but we checked out the space. There's enough space for them. And we can use the two air ducts, right? So we can use it from both sides coming through. What we need to check out for sure is, do we have enough room to come through the car with this duct here from the intake there, or from the slubs? How does it call? Scoops.
Yes.
From the scoops there, and then make it possible to attach here. Sure, we need to put a filter in between there, a kind of a conical filter there, so that we can exchange this filter as well, because we don't want to have uncleaned air going through the system anymore.
Sure. So we would have two levels of filtering. We would have the upper scoops, which are filtered, and the lower
section
on the fan.
Yeah. So, and then we hope that there's really the air coming through the car and doing a little bit pressure into it, so that it is easier for the motor to operate, right? When the motor is turning, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
the final part of this is doing engineering trials to see how much CFM we can push through this arrangement, how it affects the current draw on the motors, because in the Tesla Roadster, these cooling fans, the quality of the fan is actually sensed through Hall effect sensors, which are essentially measuring the current that is going through the fan to determine how the bearings are and whether they're getting clogged or not. In this case, what we would end up doing is doing some engineering trials to test to see what the impact on the current is, and whether the firmware is happy and the fans are within the threshold that the Roadster firmware is expecting this setup to operate within.
Because what I get now a lot is I get that DMC error there.
Fan error, yes.
A fan error, because the fans improved after a while. So they became a little bit more efficient, so they're drawing actually less power, and that can throw the sensors off as well,
which confuses the firmware.
Yes, confuses the firmware again and said, oh, wait a second, you're drawing not enough. What's happening there? Maybe you have not the right connection or so. Right. So that's what we want to address. And then we have a little bit more to go through, a couple of other cars to show. And we want to go to the cars now and look if the tubing might fit.
But yeah, you're right.
This is a dual motor fan.
Look at this. We have an obstruction here, and that's part of the belly of the trunk pan.
Oh ja, das geht nach unten hier.
Yeah.
Das sehe ich gar nicht im Trunk Pan.
So there may have to be modifications made. This could be cut out, and we can put an aluminum plate, pop rivet that on top.
Yes.
Because that cavity down there is for the hardware kit. This is the rear antenna, which could be relocated. We can put that
Somewhere here on the
extend it
side.
over and-
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a modification to the trunk pan there.
So this is, I never saw this is going lower down there.
And then we have this to contend with too on the other side, because you're coming out to about here. Let's see if they're all this way. Yep, there's another 2.0. Let's see if the 1.5 Well, this is convenient. We have 1.5, 2.0s up in the air. You can actually see. Now here you get a little bit more room, but you still have those ribs that could interfere.
This is only one fan, right?
Yeah, this is the single 1.5.
The single 1.5 fan, but there probably you have enough room for here. There could be enough room.
Could be, yeah.
So
We'll take some actual measurements.
yeah. Hast du mal do you have a measurement for that? So the easiest one would be to go back to one fan system.
The 1/4 inches. Yeah, we have 2.5 inches.
That's 2.5 inch. That's enough.
And same there.
Oops.
It's okay, 2.5 inches.
2.5 inches.
Yeah.
So for the one,
For the single fan.
for the single fan system, we would have enough.
Yeah.
So, or maybe I build back to single fan. No, it's a possibility, right?
Now, Peter could answer this for us.
Yeah.
There is a good possibility that the singles have been converted to duals because of a problem with overheating.
Yes.
I don't know that.
Okay, we find out.
Yeah. In fact, let me call him and ask him. He may just be available. I see what you
Yeah.
did this.
So just that,
So
and
it
then
would be,
just hold it there.
yeah.
So that would be holding it there. Yes.
Actually, we can probably get, well, no, maybe not. Yeah, that doesn't have any mount. But yeah, you can get an idea.
You can get an idea if it fits there, and it looks like it fits.
Yeah.
So mine one was a one fan as well, a single fan version before.
I don't remember.
Yes, I knew. Mine was a single fan version, and they turned it into a dual fan.
That's what they did with mine too. Before I even knew anything about Roadsters, when I took it to Nick Thompson, my Lightning Green, I had
Yeah.
single. He said we converted you to dual, and it's a better option for you.
Okay. So let's go to the other car again
Okay.
and find out. Here you pulled the battery, yeah?
Yeah, what we had is this is a rebuilt or repaired sheet,
Yeah.
and one of the bricks was not high enough. We could have left it in the car, but then it would have taken 3 months to balance. So what we did was we pulled it back out, and we're force charging this brick right now with one of those power supplies, and it's actually behaving quite well.
Good, good.
It had one bad cell. You can see it right here, which has now been removed from the brick.
Yes, you tick it off. You tick it off, right? You snap it off, right? Snip it off.
So here we have a different configuration.
Yeah. You know, the other possibility would be for here, if I see that here, is to make this piece different, right?
I thought about that. And
So if you just put it further back, further lower and further back, right?
and the problem if we lower it, if you can see that mounting point right there, here
Yes.
and here,
Yes.
it presses right up against this fan. So you really don't have any ability to drop this much further.
Yeah.
Unless you make changes to this bit, to this this rear valance.
No, that would be too much.
Yeah.
That'd be too much.
So the other thing we were discussing is cutting these ribs out. This is just a plastic material in the trunk bed, and putting an aluminum plate across the bottom of the trunk bed,
Yeah.
which is covered by a carpeted lid anyway. And
Correct.
these cavities are merely for additional storage or strength, which really is unnecessary since you don't carry much in your trunk.
Yeah.
This rear antenna could easily be relocated,
Yeah.
even in a 90-degree type orientation here.
So what is that box for here? What that?
It's the toolkit box, the lug nut removal and the key in that little pouch bag. There's a Phillips screwdriver in there.
I don't
generally
have that.
sits.
I don't have that. I
You
don't
don't have it? Yeah, most cars do. I can show you in one of the cars.
Yeah.
Do you want to go look at that on video?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think let me look at my car. If I have this indented area.
I'm trying to think which car which is the easiest one to access. Could be that one.
Here, let me look at my car. Should be somewhere here. Yeah.
Panel. This will pull up.
Oh yes.
Yep.
You know, I found that you will be very useless
Yes.
because I never put storage or put something in here.
And
Never.
usually, if there's any water, it collects in here and then rusts whatever is
Rust,
sitting down in
rust there. Yeah. That was a very useless piece.
here. And there's
just-
your antenna mounting holes there. So yeah,
Cut
we
that
can-
out. Put a piece of aluminium on top of it.
Exactly, just an aluminum plate.
Yeah.
And then this covers up the whole arrangement anyway.
Now the tool.
I know what they are. Yeah. The toolkit is also useless. They're not really good tools.
Occasionally use them, And you know, this one is the
This is
Yes.
the newest one we've ever seen. Look at the
Yes,
completely
this is
unused.
always rusted with mine. This is completely rusted because there was water in there. But the water settles in that indented area, right? And then it got all rusted.
Exactly. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Oh, I thought this one is in space, but it's not. That is that cherry red,
Well, when
fusion
Elon-
red, right?
When Elon sent VIN 500 something up in space, it reduced the count in this color by 1. And
Yes.
This is called the radiant red.
Radiant red, and then there's another radiant red here, and then there is another radiant red here. So this week you are in the reds.
River Motor Company, the colors tend to come in clusters. We just got rid of
Of the orange one, there are 3 orange ones. Yeah.
and electric blue. We had 4 of those. We're down to 2 on those now.
Yeah.
So,
So this one is not in space.
actually, that color is. Yeah, that's the one that.
Yeah. But this car is not in space.
That's the Toronto car.
Yeah.
Turn that fan off. So then we can talk about what the cooling.
Yes, where the cooling attaches to.
Yes. I'll leave this here. And if I can pop up a PEM, that's probably going to be the best thing. Let's see which one is easiest to pop up.
This is the improvement what you did, right? So here,
Yes.
where the 3 phases connecting to, this is the new piece, right?
Exactly. Yes.
This is your improvement, right?
Uh-huh. It's a recreated piece that is no longer in production. You want me to talk about that?
Yeah, you can. Sure.
I'm going to pop this up so we can.
Then we can see the cooling.
Yes.
Yes. So the cooling will happen in here. So the fans are blowing it through here. There are some ribs in there, or what do you call it?
Actually, right here is
Yeah.
a plenum. It's a plastic piece that has a flange on the end that attaches to a 4-inch duct. The 2 fans down below are single fans, blow the air into here, and then it gets distributed through these ribs or the IGBT heat sinks.
Yeah.
And this is the portion that generally fills up with dirt and dust and leaves.
And that's why you have to replace that or take it out every year at minimum, right? In order to clean it up. And when you have to take it out, you have to access these ones, right?
Right.
So let me get that straight. Yes, these ones. You have a broken one?
Oh, we have. These are all broken right here. It shows you what happens to them.
Because they're getting brittle, right?
Yeah, they get.
Yeah.
So what happens is these are ABS plastic molded connecting blocks, insulating blocks, that have a captivator nut behind it in that cavity. And you can see each time they torque and untorque these nuts, it puts strain on the plastic, eventually cracking and breaking it so that you can't properly attach the motor cables anymore. So after many years of not only this plastic aging, becoming brittle, but also the constant torquing and retorquing, these things end up failing. So what we end up doing is 3D printing replacement parts, and we actually improve the design even further, where we take the strain off of the connecting block by, I'm looking for one of the
bars, bus
yeah.
bars, right?
Well, maybe you can see it here. This, bus bar now has been modified, and we've pressed a PEM nut into the bus bar so that the load of the nut behind the heavy three-phase cables is no longer in the plastic, or in this case in the 3D printed
Because
version.
it now goes into the bus bar directly.
Exactly. Yeah, metal to metal.
And then you reprinted this piece, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we also reprint the DC input block, because this is the same situation where every year you have to disconnect heavy cables that are connected here.
Yeah.
And it compromises the plastic on this block as well. So both of these pieces now have improvements. We actually press...
And in nice orange, then you know, hey, this is high voltage.
This is the high
Right.
voltage, the new high
Very
voltage
good.
color standard. With pressed brass PEM nuts inside the 3D printed version, so we're no longer threading screws into plastic, essentially removing the threads as time goes by with constant insertion and removal.
Yeah. So we fix it. So
Yeah, you can see our collection growing here. We used to throw them away, now we're starting to save them. Some are completely broken, others are just compromised. This one I think has the threads broken. Oops, there we go. Yeah, you can see what ends up happening.
Yeah.
And instead of a threaded portion in here, there are screws that go in here, they relied on the plastic to actually catch the threads, which...
goes bad after a while.
Exactly, gets weakened.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, that is the cooling of the PEM. And it needs to be cleaned every year.
And the actual PEM itself is a three-phase inverter. You can see your three phases here. That's what ends up driving the three-phase AC induction motor, with a lot of contactors, relays, fuses, and of course a lot of logic and circuit boards.
Yeah. Yeah, you rebuilt mine.
What we're doing here is an active business in repairing and rebuilding these power electronic modules. This particular one here actually caught fire on the DC input side, and we ended up repairing the input, and you can see how bad the unit was when it arrived here. These are the cables, the DC input cables that caught fire.
And how they caught fire is if you don't torque them down. So if you don't torque them down and keep the torque loose, then they are developing a spark, and then the spark brings up the heat, and then the heat starts a fire, which was happened there. And fortunately nothing happened, but they got that unit to you and you repaired it again.
So yeah, in this case what we did was we took the bus bars out, cleaned them up, we pressed new PEM studs into the bus bars, we used a heavier gauge DC or cable to connect the high voltage DC battery connection to the PEM.
Yeah, and at the same time I think the customer decided also, once you have that open, rebuild the whole piece, right?
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect. Once you have that open, so don't take any, I'm gonna fix this and later that. We had that before, so once you have that open, do a whole complete rebuild, and I know they are being rebuilt because you put a foam in between there.
Right. These are replaced electrolytic capacitors. There are 19 of these inside a PEM. And what happens to electrolytic capacitors is they end up getting old, resistive, and they eventually blow up or go bad. This just came out of a, UPS power module Friday morning, actually. We started saving some of our bad capacitors just to show people what happens.
Yeah, why is that this way? Good. Excellent.
And the problem by allowing this to happen inside a PEM is that you get only one PEM per car. And they've been out of production for over 10 years. So if you damage or destroy a PEM, you're going to have to find a donor car, and those are also in short supply. So it's a good strategy to proactively keep your PEM upgraded and rebuilt.
Yeah. Good. Hey, let's go back to our seats. So we are sitting here back, and this is gonna be our project. So fit that tubing in there. Maybe I should leave it with you. So I'm not sure, but so that we can just try to. Because what I would need to have is we have to come again and see. Hey, can we get that through the entire car, right, without any problem? So when you attach the wheel again, so is that okay? When
Yeah, you can leave it. We can try it in there and see if we are clearing all of the things that we need to in order to insert that.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was a little walkthrough again on Sunday morning, and we like to do those projects, and we hope that we will fix it. I think we will fix that. So the option with the one fan is much easier because we have enough room on both sides, left and right side, and we can wire that cable through here and put a blind plug on that, right? So that's a possibility, and wire that cable through here. We can wire that cable through here. That's another possibility, right? And if necessary, and I think we find a way for that to repair it. And yeah, you saw that when Pete explained it, was that the problem is always that every year you have to take the PEM out and clean all of these, and usually they're blasted out, right? They're blasted out with air.
Yeah, there's a 28 to 30 point inspection during an annual, but the PEM is the main thing. It has to come out. They use compressed air to blow out the heatsink tubes and the grid, and that's one of the most important things. The fans, by the way, the DC fans, the ones that are the original ones in the car, we are recommending now for proactive replacement on those. Why wait until you're driving and your DC brush motor finally goes out?
And then the car stops, but you had that before.
Yes,
right?
yeah, it stopped in the middle lane on a busy highway, and I'm used to working on muscle cars, and I know exactly what to do when a car stops. I pop the hood, and I try to do that in my Tesla Roadster, and that was the first wake-up call. This is different. That's one of the reasons we got in this business, because I had no idea what to do, and at that point I hoped that...
And this cannot happen. It doesn't happen to me as well. So if I need to know what's going on.
Right.
So, and this was one of fans. The fans blew up, and the fans, they have multiple reasons why that's happening. It's happening because they are not brushless. It's happening because there are no filters on it. They get all the dust, especially in Arizona, a lot of dust.
Yep.
Get it all the dust in the car there and blows it through the whole system there, and then it congests that system as well. What you have to fix, then you have to take the PEM out, then you get to the connectors, and then you make the connectors wear out, and there's one after the next one. So I think that's why the development cycle for regular car industry is longer than the ones from Tesla.
We actually took apart a proactive fan replacement. It hadn't failed yet.
Yeah.
We opened it up, did some reverse engineering on it, and we found a thimble full of carbon dust inside that housing. We found a commutator that was worn down 1/16 of an inch where the brushes were, and of course there was virtually nothing left on the brushes.
So there would be a days or a week or two, and then it would fail.
It was bound to fail, and it may have already started throwing some DMC motor fan errors, because I'm sure the current signature was affected by this.
Yes.
Poor performance. The bearings were rusted, but they weren't yet failing. But of course, when you have bearings and you have brushes, it begs you to replace that before it's time. If you wait, a service center visit with a fan, I think, set me back around $1,400. If you proactively replace these fans, in our shop, it's around $480, $500 or so.
Yeah.
It's money well spent.
And that's why this topic is called, as a birthday present, said, Elon, we will fix it for you. So that's the birthday present. Elon's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Elon.
So, and that's why we said, Elon, we will fix it for you. And all of the other remaining Roadster owners, what I always said, one EV more is one fuel or one burner less on the road.
Right.
We have always interesting projects.
Always, yes.
And there's another project which is really a big project, and there is currently not a help for anybody who is driving Roadsters, and that's really the battery. Because the battery currently, there was a replacement battery once from Tesla, and this battery for replacement, they offered it for $29,000, but the degradation of that battery was very fast, and a lot of folks complained about that battery degradation. It was a higher range, however, it was not lasting that long. And I think the chemistry, there was still 18650 cells, but they changed the chemistry on that one, and it was not good enough for probably cooling and heating. The heating and cooling system did not do a good job for that one. But that is a very tough project, I have to say that. And maybe we one time we are permitted to work on the battery, because the batteries are glued in almost like, right?
It's
in a compound, right?
Yeah, it's in a thermal epoxy compound.
Yeah.
With cooling jackets running by each cell. So to attempt to remove cells is a very destructive process.
Yeah.
And then you have bonding plates with 2x69 connections, which require an ultrasonic welder. And those all have to come off if you're trying to do something with one cell.
Yeah.
What we find, it's much simpler to isolate the resistive cell, and it took us a couple years to perfect that process. And now we're able to actually dial it down to that one cell out of 6,831 lithium-ion 18650 cells that will kill a car. Isn't that amazing? Just one will
cell
disable the car. Yes.
So you just snip it off and then said, maybe now I can get the car better up and running to a higher mileage again.
It's kind of like removing the bad apple, yes, but finding that bad apple is the big challenge.
But one of them you found, because we have a scenario there where you snip that off, right?
Well, because of the shortage of donor sheets now, that's our standard procedure now. We actually go in and repair the sheets.
Yeah. So, yeah, we are currently repairing the sheets, and which brings the voltage down a little bit, right? But
it's negligible based on 1 in 6,831. You won't even notice.
But that one cell can make the difference, right?
On the flip side, yes, one resistive cell will shut down the firmware because it's for safety reasons. It won't allow a charge.
Yes.
It's seeing one brick out of 99. That is.
There are 99 bricks in there.
There are 99 bricks. There are 9 per sheet.
Yeah.
And there are 11 sheets.
Yeah.
And the sad part is, if you have a sheet that has one bad brick, and it's been allowed to remain under 2 volts for an extended period of time, instead of just one bad cell, you now have affected a number of cells within a brick, and there are only so many that you can snip out. So you may have 8 bricks in a sheet that are perfectly fine, but that one brick that has a bunch of bad cells will kill that sheet.
Yeah.
So we're all waiting for Tesla to come up with another 3.0 battery solution.
Yeah, or 3.5.
Yeah, whatever they call it this time.
So, yeah, we're waiting for that solution that they come up with that we want to keep the cars alive because they are pretty cars. Mm-hmm. And you're driving currently. It's almost was thinking that Pete is driving his green Tesla again, but it was not his. It was you're doing a test drive.
That's
right?
a test drive. That is a one of color. It's the only green in that color.
Ah, we had
It's
it last time. That one of green color.
VIN
Yes.
number 99.
Yeah.
And it currently has a sensor issue that is intermittent, so
Mm-hmm.
we're still battling that, but that car's almost ready to go back to the owner.
Yeah. Okay. Hey guys, this was all for the Sunday pre-brunch.
Thank you for coming by
Yeah.
again, and be sure to watch Rolf's YouTube channel. There
Yeah,
are more
and,
interesting things being posted.
Put the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and you will get more interesting projects. And this one will do another interesting project for that one, and we will fix it. So maybe I should leave that here with you. So if you want to do something with it, or I should come the next time, let me know when I should come the next time, and then I help. Yeah.
We are swamped and buried right now
Yeah.
with work.
Yes.
As you can see, backed up
Yeah.
cars. I have a new trainee. It'll be some time before we can get to the engineering, but what I can do is test this out to see if we can snake that through.
Yeah.
This part, the fabrication and the modifications and all that.
No,
yeah.
just leave that
Yeah, I
up
wanna
from
leave
me.
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, can you sneak this one out so that we can be for sure that
that we have the clearance to be
that we
able
have the clearance to go through there.
Yeah,
Yes.
to route that.
And then you can use the regular clamps, like duck clamps.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
from aluminium.
We've got C clamps. Actually,
Yeah.
we use the big 4 inches on the large one.
Yeah. These are 2¼ inch, I think.
Yeah, things like this.
Yes, or those dual clamps, like there's what you had here in the middle, what you saw there. Where was it? Here on that side when we opened that.
Oh, you're talking about conduit clamps.
Conduit clamps, yes. So these clamps here, those conduit clamps,
Yeah.
they're a little bit more than 2-inch conduit clamps.
We have in our electrical C container, we have a complete selection of them all the way up to 6 inches.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that would be a good way to hold down that.
To hold on the duct there, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I take that with me. Okay. Hey, this is all. Thank you very much. Subscribe to the channel, and see you the next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I pressed and say